Now to explore further. Warren, good afternoon. Thanks for your time with the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon. Thanks very much.
Warren, just looking at it being the beginning of the year, things are still upbeat. How is the Mining Indaba a good barometer of the industry? And really, what are your expectations with it covering the whole of Africa?
So a couple of things. Again, it's exciting to be in Cape Town because everybody's here again. So I was down at meetings yesterday, and it's very clear that there are a lot of people here. It's a good place to meet. It's a good place to see everybody. And there's been quite a big change in the past, although it's South Africa-based and it's South Africa-focused to a large extent. There are more and more African countries attending, governments attending, and also government taking stands at the Indaba. So there's a very strong African focus, and there's a very strong invitation to everybody that's here to come and do business in Africa more generally, and not just South Africa.
Warren, in South Africa, there have been a number of challenges. I mean, the biggest risks to investor confidence in the mining industry have been energy, labor, and regulatory certainty. I wonder, from your vantage point, if it is a lot more optimistic at this point, just given the local mining space right now.
Short answer, unfortunately, is no. It's not that optimistic at the moment. The South African industry is going to have a torrid year. There's no question about it. There are a number of factors that are contributing to that. Our infrastructure is problematic. Transnet is not delivering on its promises. Just generally, electricity, water, railways, roads are problematic. Our cadastre, our mining cadastre, although Minister Mantoshe has announced the preferred bidder, it's going to take at least 2-3 years before that is sorted out. The backlog of applications, the red tape associated with that, the global demand, which is putting tremendous strain. Our industry is going to be retrenching this year. Industry is going to be contracting. And again, as the largest employer in the country, the moment it starts retrenching, it has an impact on everybody else. The contribution to the economy is wide scale. It's not just about mining, it's everything else that contributes to engineering, other service providers, and it's going to have quite a bad year. Having said that, there is always, we're in an amazing crossroads again with the demand for battery minerals, hydrogen minerals, and we're again at the crossroads of a wonderful opportunity, and we need to take it again.
Well, on the issue of power and energy, we know that there's no mining without energy. And so looking to new power sources, sentiments about nuclear as a possibility, what arises on that front for you?
Yes. So again, we can't get away from coal. And I think that's a very important message. As much as people would like to get away from the dirty coal, as it's called, it's a reality. It's going to be around 20-30 years. Coal is a critical component of our energy mix. Again, the resistance to nuclear is quite amazing. We're involved in a number of the nuclear projects. The resistance is very strong. The not in my backyard principle is very strong, but nuclear is a critical element of our energy mix going forward. And I think over the next 18 months to 2 years, we're going to see a strong push for nuclear in the country. It's part of our energy plan, and we're certainly going to be looking at that. Renewables, a number of renewable projects are in the works. Most of the mining companies are going with the solar parks because they need the energy now, but it's not a long-term solution. And renewables, absolutely critical, but not in the long term. We do, I think, need nuclear as part of that mix.
Let's delve into that a little bit further, just connecting the mining sector to the green economy and what the Mining Indaba represents in terms of economic prospects and business terms for the African continent on that front. There's the just energy transition and just general compliance, ESG, amongst other principles.
So again, there's a bit of a change in dynamic on the just energy transition and the greening or the circular economy. And the changes have been very subtle, but they've been coming for the last 18 months. I think from the beginning, there was some skepticism about ESG. There was some caution around ESG, and that caution is growing. So simple things, the metrics around ESG, how do you measure compliance with ESG? And then there's a great concern that the application or the strict application of ESG is potentially stopping projects that should be going ahead from going ahead and getting the money to get them on the road. So that is certainly an element, but greening and green energy has to play a part. It's part of the mining industry. It's part of the mining industry's commitment on the hydrogen side, on the renewable energy side. So yes, very important, but I don't think the just energy transition is going to be an overnight transition, and there are certain realities, particularly in South Africa and in many other countries in Africa.
Also looking at the value chain and some of the smaller players, what about the regularization of artisanal and small-scale mining? Sometimes carried out illegally, just looking at its impact and on communities at large, job creation, just opportunities in that space.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the biggest opportunities we have in South Africa. At the moment, it's not. At the moment, the small-scale artisanal mining is having devastating impacts on communities. As you mentioned, in most cases, it's illegal. In most cases, it's run by organized groupings. And as a result of that, the people in the communities that are taking out the minerals are the most exposed. They are exposed to those horrific conditions that they work in. They're also exposed because they get paid the lowest. The value chain on the illegal mining is higher up the chain, and that's the difficulty. We can resolve that. Some sort of regularization, some sort of formality and protection of the small scale and artisanal mining by government and the private sector, I think can create a magnificent opportunity for community development, which is absolutely vital. We're leading up to elections. Again, yes. Normally when we lead up to elections, there's disruption. We are experiencing the disruption already, the protest action, and that's just going to escalate. Communities that can participate in illegal mining, take away the illegal mining, allow them to participate in artisanal and small scale in due course, I think will be a good deliverable, and there'll be real value in that for the communities going forward.
Warren, let me wrap up. I just want to look at the macro dynamics as well, the geopolitical landscape, instability in some of the regions. We're looking at Mozambique, the impact that it could have on SADC, South Africa, the Russian-Ukraine war, the new administration, if there is going to be a new one, given what's transpiring in the United States of America, South Africa itself having its own elections. How do you think these dynamics are going to play into all of it?
Everything is going to play into our industry, so South African industry and the mining industry in Africa. They're all going to have an impact. You know, Cabo Delgado had an immediate impact. There's been a bit of a positive reversal of that trend in Cabo Delgado, but all conflicts have an impact on South Africa and Africa generally. The elections, I think there's 60 to 70 countries having elections this year. All of those play into a dynamic which is a phenomenally complex environment to navigate this year. I think there's some good examples of where collaboration, and that's going to be the buzzword for this year, whether it's amongst stakeholders, whether it's amongst countries. You look at Zambia and the DRC, and people are going to be looking at President Tshisekedi and President Hichilema and President Hassan, because they seem to be doing things well. And we need to look at what they're doing, regionally, collaboratively. And I think that's really going to be a focus to get around the conflict issues and the concerns around conflict. So there's some sort of resilience built into the industry this year.